Jada is back at it here to you, everyone. Another Game of Thrones Season 7 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important if you're not caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Game of Thrones, you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description for you. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my suggestion that you don't watch this video any further, simply to avoid any potential spoilers. This will be Game of Thrones Season 7 Episode 6. Title of this episode is called Beyond the Wall. This will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. So, Arya is confronting Sansa about the letter that Sansa, of course, had wrote to persuade Robb to bend the knee to, at the time, was King Joffrey. Now, Arya accuses Sansa of mainly being concerned that she will lose faith with the Northern Lords if the letter is made public. And Sansa confides with Littlefinger, who suggests that Brienne, sworn to serve both sisters, would intervene if Arya acted against Sansa. However, when Cersei invites Sansa to King's Landing to parley, Sansa sends Brienne as her representative instead. And then Sansa searches Arya's room and finds Arya's many faces. And of course, Arya discovers Sansa is in there and explains her training with the Faceless Man, or Faceless Men, I should say. And Arya says she could take Sansa's face, seemingly threatening her with the Valyrian steel dagger, before, instead, leaving it with her. Tyrion suspects Cersei will lay a trap when they meet, but counsels Daenerys to not stoop to her level. And Daenerys gets a little sick and tired of Tyrion. She's growing frustrated with Tyrion, but he reassures her of his loyalty to her cause. And Tyrion further questions how Daenerys, who believes herself infertile, can establish a legacy that will outlive her. She refuses to discuss the situation before ascending to the Iron Throne. Jon the Hound, Jorah, Beric Dondarrion, Thoros of Myr, and Gendry journey beyond the wall with Tormund and several other wildlings. Jon offers Longclaw, the ancestral Mormont sword, to Jorah, but Jorah insists Jon keep it, as he did nothing to earn it, and he wasn't there for his family. Later, an undead polar bear attacks the party, and Thoros is savage, saving the Hound. The party continues onwards. Jon and the others ambush and destroy a White Walker, accompanied by Whites, and all but one of the Whites instantly collapse and essentially inanimate. They capture the last White, but not before he signals the undead army to his location by a high-pitched shriek. A horde of Whites approaches, and Gendry is sent alone to Eastwatch to send a raven to Daenerys, while the others take refuge on a small island in the middle of the partially frozen lake. The Night King and other White Walkers watch from high ground. Beric Dondarrion suggests that destroying the Night King will in turn destroy the other White Walkers and the Whites. Thoros succumbs to his wounds and the others cremate him. It's unfortunate for Thoros, the Hound, if he wasn't such a bitch in this particular moment, because of the fire on the bear, Thoros wouldn't have been put in that situation. Gendry ends up arriving at Eastwatch in the same episode, moving things along fast now, and Davos has the raven sent to Daenerys. Daenerys flies her dragons north, having received the raven and having rejected Tyrion's advice to do nothing. The Whites have the group on the island surrounded, and they've been there for a while, and then the Hound starts throwing rocks at some of the Whites. One just standing there without a jaw. First one hits him dead in the face, and I guess the Hound needs amusement. And then the second one doesn't go far enough and starts like skipping across the ice, which means it's frozen. And then the Whites start to come. So they attack Jon's group. Daenerys arrives, and the dragon burns many Whites. The men try to evacuate on Drogon, but the Whites continue their attack using an ice javelin. The Night King kills Viserion. Jon stays on the ground to cover the others' departure, but is pulled into the water. And it was just, I mean, I didn't do this enough good. I mean, it's just constant fighting. you got all our main characters on this little island, and the whites are just surrounded. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of them around there. But Daenerys comes to save the day, because eventually they were going to get beat by those whites. And after Daenerys pulls everybody away and flies away and goes to Eastwatch, Jon does make it out of the water and is completely out of it. He's stumbling around, and then the whites see him and they come towards him, and all of a sudden somebody with like a, I don't know what the weapon is called. It's like a ball and chain that's kind of lit up a little bit. It's in The Walking Dead, a Morning Star, I think, maybe. It's Benjen. His uncle Benjen gives Jon his horse to ride to Eastwatch, and then Benjen sacrifices himself to hold off the whites. What a great return for Benjen just to do that. So that was good. And then returning to Eastwatch, Jon apologizes to Daenerys for Viserion's death, and then Daenerys tearfully accepts the loss as cost of learning the truth, and she vows to fight the Night King with Jon. He calls her my queen and believes the Northern Lords will come to accept her leadership. And then the last thing we see is the whites have these chains, and they pull Viserion's dead dragon body out of the ocean. And the Night King comes walking over towards him, touches Viserion, and then waits for a second. All of a sudden, Viserion's eye opens and it's blue. So now instead of a dragon, he's a ice dragon now. So that's how it ends. So pretty crazy episode, although realistically they could have done a lot more in this episode, but you have the finale next. But I still enjoyed it a lot. I think if they would have killed like Jorah off in this episode, it would have been more impactful instead of just killing Thoros off, because he's not really that important. I mean, he's important to Beric Dondarrion, and I don't know if anybody else can make Beric live like Melisandre, or Thoros is the only one that can bring him back after he dies, but who knows. But it was a great episode. I did enjoy it. Crazy stuff in this particular episode. As far as the score, I got to consider the fact that they didn't really kill off it. I mean, realistically, with all those whites and the White Walkers, we should have had more character deaths on our side. So I'm going to give it a 9.2 out of 10. As far as the character of the episode, I mean, I want to give it to Benjen. I even want to give it to the Night King for killing Viserion, but I'm actually going to give it to Jon Snow, because Jon Snow was just fucking awesome in this. So you've heard what I had to say. Now it is your turn. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, make sure you smash that like button. If you like this video enough where you want to share it across all your social media platforms, that would be great, and I would appreciate it. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about your thoughts. What would you score this episode, and who would you choose as your character of the episode? And if you have a favorite moment, please leave that as well. And last but certainly not least, I definitely want to grow the channel. It's a slow-moving process, but that's what I'm trying to do. So don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support to be a part of something special, and JDev will return.